Okay, there's an interesting example I heard from one of the saints, and I can never remember which saint it was. They said, there are many, many souls in heaven that did bad things. There are souls in heaven that did drugs. There are souls in heaven that looked at pornography. There are souls in heaven that lost their patience. But there's not one soul in heaven with pride. Likewise, he said there are many good souls in hell. There are souls in hell that sat in the front pew at church. There are, no offense, guys, sorry about that. There are souls in hell that gave to the soup kitchen. There are souls in hell that went to Mass. There are souls in hell that did good things, but not one soul in hell with humility. Mass and the sacrament. So the church teaches that each of these seven virtues depends on each other, and that makes perfect sense. And the virtues, okay, everybody, I want to make you a little analogy right now. You got your rosary? Okay. There are in the church well-known 50 virtues. Not just the 7 I talked about, prudence, justice, fortitude, temperance, and faith, hope, and love, but others like patience, others like mercy. These are all virtues. Now, I was reading a book on the 50 virtues. This is kind of like a rosary, right? These beads are all like the virtues. But notice they're all held together. What is holding this rosary beads together? A string. What do you think that string would be that is holding all of the virtues together, that if you don't have that string in your life, it's impossible for you to have all these virtues? That string, humility. Humility. That makes it. The string is humility. Humility, let's go to our next slide, if Brother Mark can show it. Humility, and let's look up on our screen here, because humility is the foundation of all the other virtues. Hence, in the soul in which this virtue does not exist, there cannot be any other virtue except in mere appearance. That is outstanding, St. Augustine. Without virtue, you just pull the strings and your beads fall everywhere. Without humility, it's like you pull the string and the virtues just go falling everywhere. And so humility is the key because it is the foundation, it is the soil for which the fruit of your virtues grows. This is really important. Nothing else happens without humility. St. Thomas Aquinas put it under the virtue of something else, though. Where do you think Thomas put humility under those 4 virtues? Remember I said everything falls under those 4 virtues? Temperance, justice, fortitude, prudence. Guess where Thomas Aquinas put the virtue of humility? He put it under temperance. Why? Because you got to temper it. You got to make yourself controlled. You got to control yourself. Humility is under temperance, so we don't ever become too much into ourselves, right? We have to know our limits. Humility is not what you think. Humility is simply the truth. Now, I've said this example before, but is it humble? And I always ask, who is the greatest NFL football player ever in history? Yes, Barry Sanders from the Detroit Lions. Barry Sanders, the greatest ever. He did it all without having any supporting cast. If he had the supporting cast of Emmitt Smith, he would have run 3 times the yardage. He had nothing. The greatest ever. Now, would it be humble for Barry Sanders to say, you know, I really wasn't that good of a football player. No, that's not humble. That's a lie. Humility is simply the truth. Humility is not thinking less of oneself. Humility is thinking of oneself less. You get that? Humility is not thinking less of yourself. Humility is thinking of yourself less. And so let's watch a real quick, this is 40 seconds. This is a fascinating little video of a priest I found. In 47 seconds, tells us about humility. Take a look at this video. It's really good.
It says humility was a particular virtue of Christ. It is therefore feared by the devil and despised by the world.
It is, yeah.
So, I mean, like, the devil fears it.
He does, because how does the devil tempt us? A lot of the time, it's by plugging into this pride and ego and ambition. You know, and this pride and ego gives rise to not only to wrongful desires, but also to refusal to forgive, refusal to be charitable, refusal to sympathize with other people. Mm-hmm. So humility breaks down all of these. And the truly humble person can't be overcome by the devil, because the devil has nothing to offer them, which could possibly distract them from virtue.
Yeah.
Okay, so what a short but yet powerful video of this priest basically saying that all of the vices that Satan's going to use to attack you, you know, ambition, that you want to be this great person, or you know, I want to be wanted by everybody. So, you know, I want everybody that I want, so I have lust. I have, you know, I want everybody to want me, so I have pride. All the things that the devil can tempt you with, the one thing that chops them in half is humility. And so he said, with all those vices that Satan comes at you with, if you have humility, he ain't got nothing. He's got nothing to get you with. It is not true with everything else. Every other virtue gets a piece of the pie, piece of the pie, piece of the pie. But remember, humility is the one that holds them all together. Humility is the one that holds them all together. And so if you got that string, even if you're missing some beads, he can't touch you. Humility is the one thing that makes the devil completely helpless. It's the only thing. It's the only thing. And so this is why humility is so important. Okay,